Hello and welcome back. My name is Token. I'm your new online storyboard, and today I'm introducing you to the absolute universe's biggest victim, Batman, and the horrors of Darkseid's negative energy turned Gotham into. You already know how I do it around here. I'm going to be taking the stories apart, piecing them together, and creating a proper timeline. And with that being said, I'm sorry for any inconsistencies and enjoy the video. Our story starts off with young Bruce Wayne staring at a poster for the Bat exhibit before he's called over by his father, Thomas Wayne, to join him and his friends as they go off to explore the zoo. The trip starts as they make their way to the lion enclosure. Thomas questioning the class before talking to Bruce about joining him and his mother who are going to a movie for their anniversary, before Thomas turns around with a mortified expression on his face as he hears a shot go off. Bruce is pushed into the bat enclosure, terrified as he was swarmed by screeching creatures of the dark, with his father bleeding on the other side of the door for some time until the door creaked open, Officer Gordon only finding a young Bruce because of another terrified scream from under the swarm of bats. After many doctor's visits where Bruce would be receiving shots to recover from the bats, his father's funeral service, constant questioning, quiet nights of mourning, and his mother trying to console him, Bruce is met with a friend, Selina Kyle, sitting at the window asking if he'd lost something, having retrieved a prized medal he threw out, making him chase her along the city rooftops to retrieve the medal, in which he slips, but Selina catches him before he falls. They continue along the rooftops before dropping into an alley surrounded by cats and entering a theater through a side door where Selina shows Bruce a screening of the movie that inspired the Batman, Zorro. The two spoke in the empty theater before having the popcorn thrown all over him, Ed, Oz, Wayland, and Harvey joining the two, and the night ends with Bruce going to sleep, dreaming about the time he spent with friends, only to be woken up by a nightmare where his mom turns to go turn the lights off, only to be shot, which jolts him awake, having the young hero make his way to his mom for comfort, in which she does as they start going through old photos together, reminiscing, in which she tells Bruce how proud she is of her son for being so strong. Days pass before the trial comes, where Bruce is testifying against Joe Chill, where he talks about the award he won, more so his prize-winning inventions, how his dad pushed him to be better, to work harder, and perfect his innovations. We then continue to a young Batman building and perfecting his gadgets, his methods using blueprints from things he made in the past, until he becomes the Batman we know today, scoping out and stalking crooks. We come to modern-day Gotham, where we see a figure riding into town on a motorcycle, stopping at a small shop, gathering reports and intel about a crazed group who call themselves the Party Animals, who've been tearing up the streets of Gotham, committing all sorts of crimes that make you think they were Joker's goons, only for him to reveal himself as Alfred Pennyworth, a British intelligence agent tracking the group but being told not to engage. He's then informed about a third party, which he is allowed to engage if he attempts to interfere. We cut to the shot of Croc's gym, a hole-in-the-wall boxing gym in which we see a lean man wailing on the bag, only to be engulfed by the shadow of the one and only Bruce Wayne, a towering man who reflects on the tragic day of his father's passing before he swings with a powerful blow, tearing through the bag, causing the sand to pour out, as we're introduced to Wayne's longtime friend and the gym's owner, Wayland Killer Croc Jones, who talks about Bruce needing to do something about the Party Animals and protecting their home, as they pan over to a photo of young Bruce and his group of friends, Penguin, Two-Face, Catwoman, Riddler, Killer Croc, and Batman, all as children together. The story continues on to a yacht where we see multiple people with black fishbowl-like helmets speaking to the leading crime families in Gotham about how they're disturbing the peace and the city's history, before being replied to with one line: "I'm here to celebrate history." Its end, as the group continues to brutally execute the heads of the city's leading families. We then cut to a town hall meeting headed by Jim Gordon and organized by Martha Wayne, Bruce Wayne's mom, who is still alive. The town hall meeting isn't going as expected, with constant bombardment and judgment due to a lack of action before a flashbang goes off, and the party animals try to funnel in before they are dragged off like a scene in a horror movie, until we see the hulking figure that is Batman dangling from the roof, cocooned in his bulletproof cape, before using his entire hidden arsenal, taking out dozens before scaring off the last few, only for him to set off a small explosion beneath their feet, caving the floor. Once the fighting ended, Pennyworth was given orders to engage before Batman quickly disarmed him, taking off, stealing his shotgun. After being humiliated, Pennyworth tracked the Batman, following him, finding out who he was, his criminal background, his past achievements, following him to different jobs across the city and even to his mother's doorstep, up until he made it to his hideout where he'd see Bruce watching over the city, only to lose him just for the Batman to appear behind him, peppering him with a stolen shotgun, shooting him in the face with a handful of mini batarangs, before leaving the shotgun and driving off in the motorcycle he had stolen from the British agent out a window, leaving him to write a report where he's informed an old target was lost, and we are introduced to the Joker of the absolute universe, one of the 30 richest men in the world. After the encounter at City Hall, the party animals began to escalate their attacks. Batman found himself in the aquarium, fighting off a large crowd of them, using chemistry to beat them by turning salt water from a shattered fish tank into to acid using compressed vinegar. Pennyworth continues to stalk the Bat where we see Bruce staring down Joe Chill, his father's killer, in prison. We follow a little longer to see the party animals finding his primary safe house, only for it to erupt as the building burns with the flames drawing the shape of his cowl. The story moves forward following Jim Gordon in the hospital where he's talking to Officer Barbara Gordon, Officer Bullock, and Martha Wayne, having a conversation about the mayoral race, Batman, and the reputation of the party animals. On the other side of Gotham, Bruce was having the same conversation, joining Harvey, Ozzy, Waylon, and Ed for poker, where they began placing their bets, Bruce bidding the ape mask he'd collected, causing the group to reel backwards before he asked about the wiring, Edward going in depth on the GPS and the bounty systems. After hours, Bruce suits up, rewiring and taking apart the mask, finding out that Hill had ties to the party animals through a file called ARC-M, where his download is interrupted by the bowling ball wearing crime lord, who cornered the Batman with his goons at one door and the police at the base of the building. Batman turns around and meets a rocket to the face, one in which the suit lets him shrug off before clearing the party animals on his floor and jumping down an elevator shaft, getting into a chair where Pennyworth comes out from the shadows behind him, talking about how they can help each other before asking about a car they could use to escape. Batman bringing up that he's standing in their escape route, unveiling the low-income home on wheels he calls the Batmobile, in which he takes off. The party animals following suit, and Pennyworth starts to open fire, unable to maintain steady aim as his 600-ton machine keeps shifting and turning. Pennyworth states that the machine is too slow, so Batman shows off, dropping the machine's height in half and activates its boosters, telling Pennyworth to drop into a hatch where he finds himself sitting in a turret, in which he starts explaining he may be able to help him, exposing the fishbowl-wearing villain as Black Mask before being cornered at the docks by Gotham PD, only for Batman to eject Pennyworth and drive the vehicle off the edge into the harbor. We continue to Bruce finding Ed showing off a machine he made, an AI that Ed uploaded a metric ton of data into, including data Bruce could use about the party animals, how the masks held valuations where they'd be rewarded for any actions and heinous atrocities they committed while obstructing the identity of the wearer with implanted technology. Ed tries to convince Bruce not to pursue before he's interrupted by a phone call from Harvey, who was digging into Arkham and found information on them regarding other investments and their main bag, which was the private security sector. While Bruce talks to his sources, Black Mask is across the city on his yacht, speaking to Commissioner Harvey Bullock and mayoral candidate Hill, where he shows off his combat skills by quickly subduing a professional fighter, Black Mask trying to buy out Bullock. The next day is an eventful one as we start off with Bruce, who is seen setting up and spotting the construction site for Arkham miles off the coast of Gotham. Afterwards, Bruce stopped by, visiting his mom before she left for work, trying to convince her to lay low, hoping to keep her out of trouble. We see Pennyworth watching over his daughter, Julia, a teacher, creating a parallel of both of them wanting to keep their loved ones safe. And when she decides not to, Bruce decides to contact Black Mask, saying he'd give up the mantle for 1 week in exchange for $200 million, in which the moment he gets the money, he starts preparing. The party animals watching him taunt them, their masks displaying a stand-down order. At the same time, Gordon is watching the muse, losing faith in his re-election after losing the support of Harvey and talking to Martha about how they met. The moon starts shining over Gotham. Black Mask and his team get off their helicopter, approaching the Batman, asking about the money and how he spent it, in which he sets off a light, the money in a pile, creating the shape of the bat axe on his chest being lit ablaze, which leads to the outbreak of violence. Party animals ganging up on Bruce, only for him to unveil the latest development, spikes that protruded from his back, giving him the edge until he's ensnared in a net, beaten down by Black Mask before he tries to finish him by kicking him off the roof, only for Batman to use his cape as a parachute, which is shot out by the police, forcing him to crash down onto a cop car, almost being caught, in which he escapes down the sewers where he mends himself while talking to Pennyworth. Black Mask's response to his survival is the unloading of millions of dollars of party animal masks and guns, inciting a war in Gotham. With the masks now readily available to the public, hell breaks loose, with the story showing us multiple perspectives. We see Julia, Pennyworth's daughter, get snatched as her train gets flooded with the new party animals, only to then see her on Pennyworth's private airline, in which he evacuates her to safety. Then we have Martha and Gordon being surrounded by the party animals as they try to prevent more people from getting the mask, in which we see their bounties are 1 million each. At the same time, Bruce makes his way to Waylon's gym, injured before exposing his secret, telling Waylon that he is Batman. The others find out as Bruce uses one of his favors, asking Ozzy to fly him out, in which he chews him out while flying Bruce over the ship before he jumps out, crashing onto Black Mask's guard, slapping a life jacket around his neck before shoving him off of the boat. Black Mask's child attempts to stab Bruce, only to be picked up and having a life jacket slapped on them before kicking the child off the ship, rocketing them into the air. Their mom searching for their child, only to see them blasting off again and decides to jump ship on her own. Batman tossing her life vest after giving her a smile, looking like that monkey off of Nope. Black Mask tries to ambush him. Bruce kicks him in the gut before plowing into him like Prime Ray Lewis, tearing through the ship's wall into a bowling alley, in which he grabs two bowling balls and starts swinging. Black Mask is trying to get him to stop talking about how he can't stop them, but Bruce doesn't care, so Black Mask tries strangling him, but Bruce is too determined to end the Bat-headness, so he takes the ears of his suit and slams them into his eyes before he wraps a life jacket around his neck and tosses him off his own ship. Batman goes to finish the job by blowing up the ship, stopping the party animals as the servers go down. In the city, the party animals stop, confused by what unfolded, taking the masks off. One of them asking if that means there's no money, only to be cracked across the face by Martha, and Bruce is saved by Pennyworth, who drags him out of the ocean and patches up the unconscious Bruce. The issue ends with Joker in a grotesque suit lifting a hand, calling for Bane to be sent to Gotham. And just like that, we end Absolute Batman's first storyline, The Zoo. Thank you to everyone who stayed this long. Like, subscribe, go ahead and push all those buttons, shows me y'all want more stuff like this, and tune in next time for the Absolute Martian Manhunter. If you want to check out the story for yourself, the first volume was just released, but you can also collect the individual issues if that's your thing. I know it's mine, so check out your local comic shop, and if you don't like the physical copies, check out DC Infinite Glow Comics. In case I don't see you, good evening, good afternoon, and good night.